was the brother of an idol family until they kicked him out on his birthday. This guy is Itsumu, who born into a legendary entertainment family, but he lived in the shadow of his famous 5 sisters until they finally cast him out, branding him a failure unworthy of their name. With no spotlight, no applause, and no place to belong, Itsumu believed them and walked away, wishing for nothing more than an ordinary life. But what no one realized was that the boy they discarded possessed a rare, almost unreal ability, the power to elevate others from behind the scenes. Now in a new school, surrounded by VTubers, idols, and models bursting with raw talent, Itsumu's quiet support begins to change destinies. He doesn't steal the spotlight, he creates it. And before he knows it, the stars of tomorrow can't shine without him. This is the story of a boy rejected by fame, who becomes the most indispensable person in showbiz without ever stepping onto the stage.
The stage was set for a betrayal of the heart, a final, crushing act in the gilded cage of the Amagasaki family. Around the polished mahogany table, the sisters delivered their verdicts. There was Futaba, the second daughter, a multi-talented girl who eagerly endorsed the family's cold decree. Her enthusiasm was a sharp contrast to the chilling disdain of Io, the first daughter and a renowned actress, whose gaze dismissed anyone lacking the pure Amagasaki bloodline. Nana, the sixth daughter and a singer, remained utterly silent, lost in a world only she could perceive. Meanwhile, Shiki, the fourth daughter and a voice actress, erupted in a cackle, finding the entire spectacle a source of delicious, second-hand embarrassment. At the head of this formidable assembly sat the matriarch Amina, a powerful CEO whose shadowy presence made it clear that the time for games was over. Her declaration was absolute. Men held no place in the Amagasaki dynasty. The camera pulled back, revealing the full family tableau, with one boy standing alone, his face a mask of shock. Terror widened his eyes as the devastating truth sank in. Not a single one of his sisters would step forward to defend him. He pleaded desperately with the stone-faced family, begging them to reconsider their harsh judgment. Breaking down, he reminded them of his unwavering devotion, crying out that they were the only family he had left. He made one last, desperate appeal, unwilling to surrender their shared history. But the matriarch remained silent, her expression unmoved by his emotional display. His plea was answered only by a burst of cruel laughter from one of the sisters. Io, the first daughter, cut through the noise, her voice sharp as glass, telling him his begging was utterly useless. With chilling intensity, she delivered the devastating truth. He had never truly been one of them. He stammered in disbelief, but the matriarch merely sighed, bored by his denial. The boy's world shattered as he struggled to process her heartless words. Amina finally clarified that his presence had served only to fulfill a single, specific condition. The scene revealed the truth was a secret buried deep within their grandmother's will. She scoffed at the very notion of a family bond, confirming that his entire existence among them was nothing more than a contractual obligation. The matriarch cruelly confirmed their entire relationship had been a cold, loveless transaction, executed purely for money. He was bombarded with a torrent of their past resentments, each sister calling him a useless failure. With a triumphant smile, Amina announced that their long charade was finally over. The contract's end date was revealed to be this very day, his 18th birthday. A sinister glint appeared in one sister's eye, reflecting a skull as she suggested a celebratory toast. He was wished a happy birthday and a final farewell, a nightmare vision of death cast upon his future. A celebratory banner made the true reason for their joy clear. They were celebrating finally getting rid of him. His mind flashed back to all the times he had worked tirelessly, naively believing he could earn their acceptance. That cherished memory of a happy family was now consumed by the horrifying truth. A single tear fell as he finally accepted the devastating reality that they were never his family at all. A lone candle flame signaled that the time for his emotional display was officially over. With his face shrouded in shadow, he quietly accepted his devastating fate. He was ordered to surrender his phone and tools, a final measure to ensure their secrets remained safe. In a final, silent act of devotion, he resolved to endure this last humiliation without a fight. He placed his phone on the table, complying with their final command. The sisters watched him leave, their expressions a mix of tired impatience and gleeful relief. They hurled insults at him, telling him to get lost and never return. He forced a painful smile, thanking them for everything despite their cruelty. His existence was symbolically erased as a photo of him was tossed into a flame and burned to ash. Cast out with his luggage, he took one last look at the mansion that was never his home. With a tearful smile, he bid a final farewell to his former self. He reflected on being cast out on his 18th birthday, now truly alone in the world. Little did he know, a chance encounter was about to change his entire destiny. His mind flashed to a fateful meeting that would alter the course of his life. This is the story of how a boy who lost everything found a new purpose in supporting others. A glimpse into the future revealed his rise from underdog to a key player in the world of showbiz. But for now, his reality was a tiny rented room. His dream of a normal life shattered. The overwhelming despair of his betrayal washed over him once again. His new life began at rock bottom with no family, no home, and no money to his name. He wandered the city streets, determined to survive against all odds. His journey led him to the gates of Yumakoshi Gwen High School. The next morning, he stood in the school chairman's office with his luggage, seeking confirmation of a difficult truth. With a strange smile, he declared his intention to drop out, shocking the girl at the desk. The girl, revealed to be the idol Asha Asuka, angrily objected to him being forced out after all he had endured. He tried to lighten the mood, gently chiding her for being so formal while appreciating her anger on his behalf. A flashback revealed they had crossed paths before through his work in the entertainment industry. He recalled her true identity as the leader of Asterisk, the reigning supreme idol group. Asuka was shown in her element on stage, celebrated as the peerless and captivating #1 idol in Japan. Back in the present, Oscar's resolve hardened. Unable to accept his fate, even if he could. Overwhelmed by her unwavering support, he was moved to tears by the kindness of a top idol. He was stunned that someone so famous would care about an outcast like him. A new woman arrived, telling Asuka to settle down, but the idol passionately defended him. The woman calmly pointed out that the boy had already made up his mind, much to Asuka's frustration. The woman, revealed to be the school's chairman, Ashia Sakuya, turned her attention to the boy. The chairman revealed he was not being forced to quit and probed for the real reason behind his decision. With a kind and inviting smile, she encouraged him to confide in her. He clenched his fist, hesitating to reveal the true, painful reason for leaving. The chairman and the top idol both leaned in, hanging on his every word. He awkwardly confessed that there was no particular reason, trying to downplay his situation. His vague answer infuriated Asuka, who grabbed him, demanding he take this seriously. He explained that he felt too guilty to stay, leaving Asuka puzzled by his reasoning. He reflected on Umakoshi Academy, a prestigious school dedicated to fostering future stars. Since he was quitting showbiz, he felt he no longer belonged among such dedicated students. With tears in his eyes, he confessed that staying would feel like a betrayal of their hard work. Asuka watched him with growing concern, realizing the depth of his pain. He sheepishly admitted his attendance was so poor it was as if he had already dropped out. Asuka's expression shifted as she started questioning just how many staff members supported his sisters. She became more insistent, pointing out the absurdity of managing 7 top-tier celebrities alone. The chairman chimed in, listing the massive team required for such a task and asking about the size of his support staff. With a dazed look, he made the shocking confession that he was the entire team all by himself. The idol exploded in disbelief, grabbing him and insisting it was impossible for one person to do so much work. She leaned in closer, questioning his very presence at the school and demanding an explanation. The chairman playfully revealed Asuka had set up an alert with security, leaving the idol completely flustered. Mortified, Asuka stammered that he shouldn't feel obligated to her just because she was the chairman's daughter. Overcome with embarrassment, the top idol turned away, completely losing her composure under her mother's amused gaze. He couldn't help but smile, finding her flustered state unexpectedly charming. He quickly offered a laughing apology, but she snapped and grabbed his hand to shut him up. A flustered Asuka pleaded with him to stop calling her cute, her tough facade completely crumbling. The idol's embarrassment gave way to tearful frustration as she demanded to know what he wanted from her. He was the one who broke down now, moved to tears as he declared she was just too cute. The chairman cleared her throat, interrupting the emotional moment to ask one final question. She reminded him that his life was now his own, free from his past obligations. She formally asked what he planned to do now that he was leaving the world of showbiz behind. He hesitated for a moment while both the chairman and Oscar watched him with gentle anticipation. He recalled his past where he sacrificed his youth to work tirelessly behind the scenes for his sisters. All he ever wanted was a normal life, to study, make friends, and perhaps find romance. With a burst of passion, he declared his simple wish to finally experience an ordinary youth. A knowing smile spread across the chairman's face as she revealed she had the perfect place in mind for him. Hours later, he arrived in a new town, leaving his old life behind to start completely fresh. He reflected on the chairman's incredible generosity in arranging not just a school transfer, but a place to live as well. He recalled the chairman's strange but caring words, unaware she had her own reasons for helping him. Overwhelmed by her kindness, he vowed to work part-time to repay her for covering his rent and expenses. Leaving the chaos of yesterday behind, he walked towards the start of his brand new life. His heart soared with excitement at the thought of finally experiencing the normal school life he had always wanted. His hopeful journey was interrupted by the sound of a confrontation just ahead. He saw two menacing delinquents cornering a lone female student. The delinquents leered at the girl, their friendly invitation masking a sinister intent. His dream of a peaceful life was shattered as he realized his new town might be more dangerous than he expected. He panicked, imagining himself getting caught in a brawl and being utterly defenseless. His attention snapped back to the scene as he saw the cornered girl trembling in fear. He shoved his fear aside, realizing he couldn't just stand by while a girl was in trouble. A new girl appeared, her eyes filled with a fierce determination to step in and help. Her mind was made up. She was going to save the girl in trouble no matter what. She fearlessly stepped in, grabbing the delinquent's hand and calmly telling him to back off. The tense confrontation took place in a quiet street right outside a neighborhood shop. The aggressors shifted their focus to the new girl, threatening her with harm if she didn't back down. Her heroic act was met with confusion, making her question her own judgment in the face of their indifference. Her expression was one of pure bewilderment, unable to comprehend their lack of concern. Looking at the victim's fearful expression, she confirmed her initial assessment that this situation was not okay. With a sudden, confident smile, she promised to protect the other girl, which only served to anger the delinquent more. Enraged by her defiance, the delinquent lunged forward, ready to make her regret interfering. The girl braced for impact, her face a mask of grim resolve as the aggressor bit his lip in fury. But before the punch could land, the boy appeared out of nowhere, effortlessly dodging the attack. In a flash, he grabbed the delinquent's arm and used a swift, practiced motion to flip him. The delinquent's eyes widened in sheer shock as he was sent flying through the air. He landed hard on the ground, the fight knocked out of him by the unexpected takedown. Lying on the pavement, the downed delinquent realized he had just been taken down by a formal martial arts throw. The boy casually stretched, revealing to the stunned girls that it was just a simple Aikido technique. He flashed a chillingly confident smile at the remaining aggressor, daring him to make a move. Utterly intimidated, the two delinquents made a hasty retreat, leaving the girls safe. He breathed a sigh of relief, the immediate danger now over. Despite his cool demeanor, he admitted he was incredibly nervous, as it had been a while since he had to fight. He recalled his past life where he trained in multiple martial arts to shield his celebrity sisters from constant threats. But he sadly acknowledged that his role as their protector was now a thing of the past. The girl he saved got his attention, and for the first time he got a proper look at her face. She shyly thanked him for coming to her rescue, marking the official start of their fateful encounter. The girl was introduced as Himemejit Tsukio, a mysterious beauty whose occupation was unknown. He was completely flustered, realizing he was so focused on the fight, he had failed to notice her breathtaking beauty. In his eyes, she was not just beautiful, she was an ethereal, angelic figure. He was completely captivated, his mind reeling from how unbelievably cute she was. She whispered her thanks, overcome with relief and on the verge of tears. Hime tearfully insisted he had saved her life, though he thought she was being a little dramatic. The other girl quietly observed that Himamai must have been truly terrified. He instinctively patted her head to comfort her, a gesture he once used on his sisters. The simple act of kindness sent her heart racing, leaving her blushing and completely speechless. This moment triggered a bittersweet memory of comforting his younger sisters in the same way. Realizing his mistake, he frantically apologized for being overly familiar with a stranger. He cringed in embarrassment at his own actions while the other girl remembered they hadn't even introduced themselves. The girl nervously introduced herself as Himajitsukyo, fidgeting under his gaze. He was completely smitten, internally gushing that even her name was adorable, much to her confusion. He asked for his name, and he awkwardly explained that he was just kicked out of the Yamagasaki family. He introduced himself as Sakasigawa Atsumu, but his heartfelt introduction was interrupted by a loud growl from his stomach. He sheepishly admitted he had been surviving on nutrient jelly. Tears traced paths down Himi's cheeks as she bowed deeply, her voice trembling with fierce sincerity. "Please, let me repay you for everything." Atsumu froze, completely flustered by the intensity of her plea. He stammered, unsure how to react, his mind a blank. His story was not a happy one. Banished by his 7 famous sisters on his 18th birthday, he had been left with nothing. Only the kindness of the school chairman had secured his transfer, a chance at a new life. Yet instead of heading straight to his dorm, he now found himself sitting across from Himi in the warm glow of a family restaurant, staring at a lavish spread. His eyes stung, not from sadness, but from the simple, overwhelming joy of a real meal. He looked at her nervously. "Do I really deserve all this?" Himi shook her head shyly. "This is my way of thanking you." She admitted she had been frozen with fear during the earlier confrontation. Himi, at the table, listened with quiet understanding. A quick memory flashed, the scene that started it all. Atsumu stepping between Himi and a pair of aggressive delinquents, his voice firm. Atsumu had helped too, but now downplayed her own role. "I just did what anyone would." As she ate, Atsumu noticed Himi's flustered reaction and wondered if she had missed something. His gaze drifted to Himi. She took in her height, her striking figure, the extraordinary aura that made her stand out even here. Her observations were confirmed as whispers began to ripple from nearby tables. Other patrons were captivated, speculating about the beautiful girl's profession. Atsumu understood. Himi was, without a doubt, a truly incredible beauty. The arrival of their dessert cut the moment short. A waitress presented Himi with a massive, limited edition strawberry parfait. Himi's eyes sparkled. She eagerly snapped a photo of the adorable creation, her girlish delight making the Atsumu smile. More hushed whispers came from a nearby table, patrons charmed by the contrast between Himi's mature looks and her cute dessert choice. Himi blushed. "Is it weird for me to like such things?" Her bright expression suddenly faded, her mood plummeting. With a deep flush, she confessed her embarrassment. "I look like this, but I love cute things." Atsumu spoke up, his voice steady. "I think it's a great quality." His words caught both girls by surprise. He reassured her she had nothing to be embarrassed about. A beautiful girl who also loves cute things. That's the ultimate, unbeatable combination. Himi was left completely stunned, blushing as he insisted she was wonderful just as she was. Himi watched with a warm smile. Overwhelmed, Himi quietly thanked him. Inspired by his sincerity, Atsumu tearfully confessed her own deep love for cute things. "You have a cute voice too." She blinked in surprise. He explained it was strikingly similar to a popular VTuber he admired. She let out a nervous giggle. He internally fretted over his social skills as she awkwardly excused herself for a drink. Atsumu tried to lighten the mood. "I was half convinced I'd get arrested for loitering in a family restaurant." Himi looked puzzled. "You weren't joking?" she asked. He insisted his fear was genuine. Her expression shifted to deep concern. "Is it true you don't have a family anymore?" Atsumu flinched, realizing the weight of what he'd casually revealed. He panicked, apologizing for oversharing as Himi tried to calm him. Her concern deepened. "I've been worried ever since you mentioned only having nutrient jelly." Overwhelmed by her kindness, Atsumu was left blushing and speechless. He quietly confirmed her suspicions. After a heavy silence, he offered, "I can tell you the whole long story if you want to hear it." And so he confided in her. He laid out the heart-wrenching tale of his former family, their betrayal, his years of service ending in exile. His tragic story moved Himi to tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered, "for making you relive the pain." Atsumu watched her cry, feeling terrible. He scolded himself internally. Making a girl cry was unforgivable. Hime tried to compose herself, but her tear-filled eyes revealed her deep empathy. Atsumu attempted a pained smile. "It's fine. I was useless to them after all." His self-deprecation shocked her. "You're wrong," she said, clutching her napkin, her resolve hardening. With fierce conviction, she refused to let him believe that. Blushing, she reminded him of his own heroism. "You saved me." Atsumu was taken aback by the sudden intensity in her expression. She recalled the confrontation, his brave intervention. Nervously fiddling with her hair, she struggled for words. With fresh tears, she declared, "In that moment, you were my hero." Atsumu was completely flustered, moved to tears by witnessing this honest exchange. Later, outside the restaurant, Hime shyly thanked him as they prepared to part. With a radiant, blushing smile, she waved goodbye, hoping they would meet again. He agreed with a gentle smile of his own. They soon went their separate ways. The scene pulled back, showing the sprawling city where his new life had just begun. Atsumu walked on, reflecting on the day's chaos and wondering what his new school life would hold. His thoughts drifted back to Hime, her cute voice. Could she be in the entertainment industry? Meanwhile, Hime herself was lost in thought, a faint blush on her cheeks. He resolved to ask her if their paths crossed again. The scene shifted. A streaming setup glowed in a dark room. This was the day she had met him. Her ordinary youth was spent in front of a screen. She typed, and her computer whirred to life. She posted an announcement for an upcoming stream, a routine she believed went unnoticed. The truth was revealed. She was the massively popular VTuber Kagaya Hashizuki. With over 1 million subscribers, she greeted her adoring fans as the game streaming princess. As she prepared to start her game, she reflected on the wonderful thing that had happened that day. She enthusiastically announced to her audience that it was time for the main event, playfully teasing that she would share the secret of her wonderful day. Hime was Japan's top VTuber, and she eagerly began her stream. Meanwhile, Atsumu sat alone, his thoughts lingering on the family that banished him. His mind flashed back to their cruel celebration. He wondered how they felt after kicking him out. He knew it was pointless to dwell, but the painful memories haunted him. Did any of them feel even a shred of sadness? The scene cut to the lavish Amagasaki mansion. Life continued without him. Inside, one sister cruelly recounted the look on his face, finding his despair hilarious. Another chimed in. Their casual conversation was a stark contrast to his pain. The fifth daughter, the idol Mitsuki, coldly recalled his final, desperate expression. Futaba, the second daughter, laughed wildly, finding his suffering more entertaining than any TV show. Shiki, the fourth daughter, lamented not recording his breakdown for her amusement. The sisters erupted in shared laughter, delighting in the reality of his pain. They praised Shiki's cruel genius, imagining how his humiliation could have gone viral online. A calmer voice cut through the glee. "His absence is for the best." The others paused, confused. The third daughter, the model Mika, explained with a smug smile that the very air felt cleaner without him. Her sisters cackled, joking his presence was a form of pollution. Mika listed her grievances, starting with his strict enforcement of her diet. Shiki excitedly agreed, flapping her arms as she prepared her own complaint. She recalled his ban on spicy food, gleefully adding the spiciest noodle she could find to her online cart. Mitsuki fumed at the memory while Futaba tapped her phone, a sinister grin spreading. The idol revealed her biggest frustration was his strict approval process for all her selfies. To prove her point, she defiantly posted a wild photo. Her sisters voiced their shared annoyance. Futaba revealed she'd been banned from social media entirely, a rule she now gleefully broke. The attention turned to the remaining quiet sisters. The first daughter, Io, coldly recounted how he forced her to reject prestigious acting roles. Another sister playfully goaded the silent Nana. Her sisters rallied behind Io, furious he'd cost her a potential Hollywood career. Nana, the singer, finally spoke. Her only loyalty was to a mysterious music producer named Five. The sisters recalled the producer's recent hit, wondering about the genius who captured Nana's voice. Lost in her own world, Nana declared that singing Five's songs was the only reason she needed to live. The final sister, the pouting VTuber Yachio, was prompted next. She clutched her teddy bear, venom in her voice. I never want to see him again. Her venom surprised even her sisters. The matriarch, Amana, smirked with satisfaction. She had united her daughters in their hatred. She announced the obstacle to their success was gone. Their talents had been held back too long. With a triumphant smile, she gave them permission to unleash their full potential on the world. The next day, a towering corporate building in central Tokyo, the president's secretary, Kamiyuki, burst into the office, demanding to know why she wasn't consulted about firing Atsumu. Amana coldly dismissed her. There was no need to discuss such a trivial matter. The frantic secretary argued she couldn't possibly manage the seven sisters alone. Atsumu had handled almost everything. With a smug smile, Amana calmly revealed she had already arranged for a replacement. As if on cue, the office door opened. A young girl stood in the doorway. I am Haruma Rima, an intern from Yumikoshi Academy's support department. She introduced herself. Yuki stared in disbelief. A mere intern? For this critical role? Amana placed a hand on the intern's shoulder, a gesture of unsettling confidence. Yuki's shock deepened. Panicked, she protested that even an elite student was no substitute for Atsumu's years of experience. Amana smugly presented the nervous intern as Atsumu's official replacement. Yuki frantically pointed out a student couldn't handle the immense workload. Amana cruelly dismissed her concerns. If a failure could do the job, an elite student will have no trouble. Her question hung in the air, filling Yuki with impending doom. Yuki recalled Atsumu's reassuring smile, his promise to handle everything. Now, she was filled with dread, convinced the entire operation would collapse without him. Her thoughts turned to Atsumu, the only person who could fix this mess. She realized with dawning horror just how much they had needed him. The scene shifted to Atsumu's new school. He was greeted by the sight of Hime standing in the classroom doorway. A classmate approached, surprised Atsumu, didn't know the rumors about the mysterious Hime. The classmate agreed she was cute. Atsumu shyly admitted he'd love to talk to her just once. She's completely unapproachable, the classmate explained. Ignores everyone. Her beauty and aloofness earned her the title Ice Queen. Trying to get close is a hopeless pipe dream. The next morning, Atsumu jolted awake. 4:03 a.m. He yawned, his body still stuck on the grueling schedule from his previous life. He began his morning run, reintroducing himself to the empty streets. Sakasagawa Atsumu, the high schooler kicked out on his birthday. He felt exhausted from the early start. He now resided in the school dorms, a kindness from the former chairman. As he jogged, he reflected on his past managing the showbiz dynasty. A flashback showed his exhausted former self, barely sleeping while supporting them. Now, in his new dorm, he was up early cooking, his body still used to the old rhythm. He proudly tasted his perfectly cooked meal, a simple pleasure. Eating alone, he reflected on his new life. He wished he still had his phone to watch streams. His heart skipped a beat remembering Hime. Her voice felt so familiar. He savored the slow pace, hoping his school life would finally be fun. Later in class, the teacher announced a new transfer student. Atsumu turned to the class with a beaming smile. I'm Sakasagawa Atsumu. The class erupted in whispers, speculating about the cute new boy with a high-pitched voice. And used to the attention, Atsumu blushed, his heart pounding. However, one intimidating delinquent in the class scoffed, unimpressed. His transfer to this ordinary high school was a secret to protect him from his past. Filled with hope, he was directed to a seat in the back. As he walked, a student's gaze was drawn to his distinctive running shoes. He stopped. His assigned seat was next to the menacing delinquent. A closer look confirmed a suspicion. He recognized something familiar about the tough student. As he passed, the delinquent flinched, seeming to recognize him, too. The delinquent, Kongu Riki, suddenly grabbed his arm, slamming his desk. Don't get cocky, newbie. He cracked his knuckles, accusing Atsumu of mocking him. As Atsumu tried to apologize, baffled, the teacher feebly attempted to de-escalate, but Kongu's intimidating glare silenced him. The teacher nervously pleaded with Kongu to return to his seat. Kongu looked down in shock. His previously torn pants had been mysteriously repaired with cute animal patches. Atsumu proudly revealed a sewing kit with a confident wink. He explained he'd stealthily patched them as he walked by, a skill honed over years. The delinquent was speechless. Atsumu anxiously wondered if the cute patches weren't to his taste. He explained the logic: a tiger, a bee, and a bear to suit the tough image. As Kongu stared blankly, Atsumu wondered if his choices were a mistake. From the delinquent's perspective, he saw Atsumu's sparkling, innocent eyes asking if an elephant patch would have been better. Kongu's heart pounded, struggling to process this bizarre interaction. The delinquent, completely rattled, accused him of intentional mockery. With a clueless smile, Atsumu said he simply saw torn pants and thought he was helping. Kongu finally erupted, informing him the rips were a deliberate fashion choice. Despite his outburst, a deep blush spread across the tough guy's face. The rest of the class quietly laughed, realizing the school's toughest delinquent had been completely flustered. The humiliated Kongu stormed off, vowing Atsumu would regret this. Atsumu watched him return to his seat, relieved the crisis was over. Wiping his brow, he sighed. With the confrontation behind him, he finally turned to find his desk. His eyes lit up, but it was the person next to it that truly shocked him. He couldn't hide his happy surprise. He was seated next to Hime. Hime blushed deeply, shyly asking him to take care of her now that they were classmates. He beamed a bright, friendly smile, while Hime could barely meet his gaze, completely flustered. He happily agreed, promising to be a good classmate as he settled in. While the delinquent seethed in the background, Atsumu's joy and Hime's pounding heart marked the start of their new school life. He tried to play it cool by twirling his pen, but his nerves caused it to slip, clattered to the floor. He froze in horror at his clumsiness. His classmates erupted in whispers, completely shocked to hear the silent girl's voice for the first time. Hime looked on with concern, wondering if she'd done something wrong by speaking. A classmate shouted in disbelief, "The Ice Queen just spoke." For the new kid, the student's shock was palpable. Atsumu finally connected the dots. The beautiful, blushing girl beside him was the school's unapproachable Ice Queen. The scene cut to the VTuber Kagaya Hashizuki, frantically playing a game, a stark contrast to her quiet school persona. Atsumu sighed wistfully. He recalled how watching the energetic VTuber Kagaya had been his only escape from his sister's torment. But as his work intensified, he lost even that comfort. Now, filled with renewed hope, he had arrived at his new high school. His new life began with a fateful encounter with the beautiful, shy Hime. By some miracle, they were reunited on his first day. But a new problem arose. The entire class stared intently at him, making concentration impossible. He couldn't understand their shock or why they called the gentle Hime the Ice Queen. He worried his arrival was causing her trouble. His gaze fell upon the collection of cute keychains on her school bag. One, a fluffy rabbit, sparked a jolt of recognition. He turned to ask her about it but froze, realizing the whole class was watching their every move with disbelief. Ignoring the stares, he quietly began, "Is that keychain?" He quickly changed his mind. This needed privacy. The bell rang. On the school rooftop, Atsumu thanked Hime for leading him to a place where they could talk alone. Hime shyly explained the rooftop was her sanctuary. Relieved, he saw she had opened her adorable homemade lunch. They decided to spend lunch there. Now alone, Atsumu asked about her intimidating nickname. A deep blush spread across her face. "It's embarrassing," she admitted. Her reputation stemmed from crippling shyness. Her inability to find words made her seem cold and dismissive, leading to wild rumors she was a noble lady who looked down on everyone. Atsumu put the pieces together. Her cold reputation was a huge misunderstanding. Hime tearfully confessed she was too embarrassed to tell anyone the simple truth. To lift her spirits, he proposed making their rooftop lunch a daily routine. She was delighted. He appointed himself her conversation coach, and she nervously accepted. He racked his brain for a method to help her. He munched on his food, knowing just sharing a meal wasn't enough. He casually mentioned the keychain again, noting the strange contrast between her real-life shyness and her talkative online persona. Realizing he'd said too much, he tried to take it back, but Hime's shocked gasp told him he'd hit a nerve. A hopeful glint appeared in his eyes. Hime's panicked expression confirmed his suspicion. The final piece clicked into place. He connected the shy Hime with the famous VTuber Kagaya Hashizuki. With tears in her eyes, Hime trembled as she quietly confirmed his theory. She sulked in embarrassment, picking at her food now that her secret was exposed. Atsumu admitted he was only half certain. The dejected Hime realized she'd been completely figured out. She asked how he knew. He listed the clues: their similar voices, shared love for cute things, how she let her guard down around him. But the real giveaway was the special item on her bag. He excitedly pointed out the handmade rabbit keychain, the signature mascot from Kagaya Kagaya's streams. He noted it wasn't official merchandise, meaning she must have made it herself, just like the VTuber claimed. Hime was confused by his excitement. Atsumu proudly revealed the keychain was an original character he had designed, named V. Hime was stunned. She realized he was a longtime fan she knew as Vizen, but he casually corrected her. It's pronounced 5. Hime clutched her lunch, admitting she never imagined such a connection, but was secretly happy it was with him. A warm, relieved smile spread across her face. Her gentle expression caught him off guard, making his heart pound. He quickly regained his composure, steering back to helping her. He confirmed her goal was to speak confidently in front of others. He questioned why she could talk so freely on stream. Hime shyly confessed that when she streamed, she felt like she wasn't really herself. She admitted insecurity about her tall, mature appearance, though he saw those features as beautiful and cool. Atsumu understood. He realized that for Hime, her VTuber persona, Kagaya, represented her ideal, perfect self. With newfound determination, he told the confused Hime he knew exactly how to help. He playfully winked. My grand plan is to help you become as cute as your ideal self. Hime was left completely speechless. The story recapped his banishment and his fateful reunion with Hime. During their rooftop lunch, he learned of her struggles and devised his bold solution. He enthusiastically repeated his promise to make her cute. After school, he marveled at a massive facility right next to their campus. Inside a sprawling shopping mall, he thanked her for guiding him as she explained the variety of stores. Atsumu was overjoyed. This is my first time ever hanging out with a friend after school. Hime blushed at the word friend, flustered by the new label. He confidently led the way into the mall while Hime quietly followed. Their first stop was a cosmetic shop, a choice that left Hime bewildered. He revealed his plan. His experience doing his sister's makeup made him the perfect person to help. With a confident wink, he declared, "Cuteness can be created, and I'm the man for the job." After making selections, a friendly shop clerk, Yamaguchi Haruko, rang up their purchase. The clerk reflected on her own lost dream of being a professional makeup artist, now just recommending popular items without fulfillment. Her routine was broken by Atsumu and a very nervous-looking Hime. Atsumu tried to comfort Hime, while the clerk mistakenly pegged them as a cute couple. She found their dynamic heartwarming, envying Hime's natural beauty and admiring Atsumu's charm. Atsumu confidently asked to borrow samples to try a new look. The helpful clerk directed them to the self-makeup corner. As the clerk mused about his politeness, Atsumu laid out his tools. Hime's heart pounded as she nervously agreed to let him begin. The clerk's jaw dropped, stunned. The boy wasn't just accompanying his girlfriend, he was the makeup artist. She watched with doubt, assuming he was a clueless boyfriend trying to be trendy. She silently prayed he wouldn't ruin the girl's stunning features. But her doubts vanished as he expertly prepared his tools with masterful precision. With a brush in his mouth, he began. His movements were swift and impossibly confident. The clerk was mesmerized. He worked with intense focus, each step handled with practiced ease. His touch was both incredibly skilled and surprisingly delicate. As Hime felt the gentle application, the clerk realized he was working on a professional level. He flawlessly selected perfect colors and tools, tailoring everything to Hime's unique complexion. The clerk was moved. This wasn't just a makeover, it was an act of pure, heartfelt artistry. She wondered what life experience could grant someone such skill. With a final delicate brushstroke, he completed the transformation. He proudly announced it was done. Hime opened her eyes. Staring at her reflection, she struggled to believe the beautiful girl with soft, cute styling was actually herself. He shyly asked for her opinion, admitting he'd incorporated some trends. Overjoyed, Hime praised his incredible talent. "I feel like a whole new person." From the counter, the stunned clerk realized the true transformative power of makeup. Filled with newfound hope, Hime joyfully exclaimed he could truly help her become her ideal self. The clerk was left blushing and inspired, her own passion reignited. As the clerk approached, Hime quietly considered his words about becoming who she wanted to be. His impressive display quickly attracted a crowd of other girls, all desperate to learn his techniques. The clerk watched with a knowing smile as they surrounded him, asking where he learned his skills. The tension of the gathering crowd shattered as Hime suddenly grabbed Atsumu's hand. With a determined pout, she pulled the flustered boy away, loudly announcing that everyone was interrupting their date. The word date sent Atsumu into a blushing shock as they fled, leaving the stunned onlookers behind. Safely away by a fountain, he caught his breath and told her she'd surprised him. She explained simply that she couldn't just leave him to fend for himself. A blush warmed her cheeks as she clenched her fists, insisting the crowd was ruining their precious time together. The romantic implication of her words dawned on them both at once, leaving them blushing furiously, hearts pounding. He pointed out she was speaking with surprising ease, and she realized it felt just like when she was streaming. With a radiant, blushing smile, she gave him all the credit for her breakthrough. His heart raced at her sincere gratitude, leaving him completely flustered. Their successful day continued with a full tour of the mall, trying on clothes, sharing snacks. After buying the makeup, they eagerly planned their next stop, a strawberry cake shop. But their perfect date was cut short by the sudden appearance of familiar, unfriendly faces. Atsumu's expression shifted to shock as he recognized the approaching figures. It was the delinquent Kongu, flanked by the two thugs he'd taken down just the day before. Meanwhile, back at the Amagasaki mansion, a car waited at the entrance. The new intern, Rima, impatiently urged someone to stop dawdling and get in. You glared at her, blaming Rima for their lateness and the impending doom. 2 days prior, at the Yamagasaki agency, a significant event had unfolded. Atsumu, the former manager, was fired, leaving a void. Yuki, the president's secretary, worried about the president's decision. Despite the increased workload, no major issues had arisen yet. Yuki hoped the new intern was performing well. The scene shifted to a downtown TV station. Rima was embarrassed by a mishap likely caused by one of the sisters. Mitsuki, the fifth daughter and a popular idol, confronted her angrily, worried her carefully crafted image was being ruined. The new manager, Rima, nervously insisted she'd tried waking the idol up, shifting the blame for their lateness. She was revealed to be a second-year student from Yumakoshi Academy. Mitsuki dismissed her excuse, confused by Rima's claim of being the new manager. The idol got menacingly close, twisting Rima's words to prove she'd failed at her one job. A flashback showed Rima's desperate attempts to wake the sleeping idol, pounding on her door in a panic. Back at the station, a timid staff member interrupted, informing Mitsuki her break was over. Mitsuki let out a disdainful scoff, her cruel expression making Rima flinch. But in a flash, she turned on her idol persona, giving a sparkling wink and a cheerful thank you. As she strutted away, the overwhelmed Rima slumped against the wall, utterly defeated, despairing over the unfair treatment. A profile revealed her new client was Mitsuki, the fifth Amagasaki sister, a massively popular idol known for her bold public persona. Rima was completely intimidated, realizing the idol's image hid a very difficult personality. As their car sped through the city at night, Rima tried to steel her resolve, reminding herself this was a huge opportunity. Mitsuki impatiently interrupted, ordering the newbie to stop daydreaming and do her makeup, condescendingly reminding her that this was her job. Rima panicked, questioning the demand and pointing out professional makeup artists usually handled it. Mitsuki glared with contempt, insisting any competent manager should be skilled in makeup. The flustered intern admitted she'd never heard of such a requirement. A flashback revealed Atsumu's gentle expertise, a stark contrast to her inexperience. Mitsuki scoffed in disgust, rattling her makeup kit before thrusting it into Rima's face, her intimidating glare demanding compliance. As they sped towards the studio, Mitsuki explained they'd be recording the moment they arrived. She leaned in close, venomously accusing the intern of trying to sabotage her career. Later that night, at the opulent Amagasaki residence, Mitsuki stormed into her room, throwing a tantrum over the new manager's incompetence. She seethed with rage, furious at the humiliation of the botched makeup job that made her a laughingstock on set. She took out her frustration on a stuffed animal, furious that a new problem had arisen just after she'd gotten rid of Atsumu. A sinister smile spread across her face as she decided on a way to vent her anger. She cracked open a can and aggressively chugged the forbidden drink, finally letting loose with no one to stop her. Surrounded by snacks, she relaxed on the couch, basking in her newfound freedom. She smugly imagined Atsumu's miserable fate, savoring her unrestricted actions. Her mood improved. She snapped a few carefree photos with her sister and posted them online. With a wicked grin, she scoffed at her followers, confident that manipulating them was child's play. She reveled in her power, mocking her fans as her post gained traction. She slept soundly while her phone buzzed endlessly with notifications. One comment under the photo hinted that something was terribly wrong. The next morning, the idol's post was a trending topic. The secretary, Yuki, was jolted by a furious phone call demanding answers. A major client furiously canceled their commercial contract, fearing brand damage. Urged by the caller, Yuki frantically checked the internet, her eyes widening in horror at the gravity of the situation. While the idol slept, the family was about to learn a harsh lesson. Their entire empire was built on the efforts of the very person they cast out. Back at the mall, Hime gasped as trouble approached. Kangu aggressively questioned Atsumu, demanding to know why he was with Hime. The delinquent and his crew surrounded the pair. Hime nervously wondered why Kangu was so angry as his temper visibly flared. Atsumu tried to de-escalate, explaining they were just enjoying a normal day out. He completely misread the situation, cheerfully asking if Kangu wanted to join them. The two thugs pointed accusingly, identifying Atsumu as the one who'd attacked them. Kangu cracked his knuckles, accusing the transfer student of messing with his crew and not forgetting the humiliating pants patching incident. Atsumu tried to explain the thugs were the troublemakers and he was just intervening. Kangu snapped a toothpick as Atsumu cheerfully offered to fix his pants again. Atsumu finally understood the rage stemmed from the cute animal patches. Enraged, Kangu threw a powerful punch, but Atsumu dodged with surprising speed. The thugs cheered while Hime watched in panic. Atsumu frantically tried to de-escalate, but the delinquent's glare silenced him. Kangu muttered angrily, questioning what Atsumu could know about his humiliation. As a crowd gathered, Atsumu pleaded for calm. Kangu angrily rejected it, revealing he was a karate black belt and promising his next attack wouldn't miss. Realizing he couldn't hold back, Atsumu prepared for a serious fight. Kangu dramatically dropped his bag and brandished a large cross-shaped weapon. With a look of resolve, Atsumu apologized internally. He unleashed a stunningly fast strike, catching Kangu off guard. Atsumu expertly deflected the retaliating blow, his movements fluid and precise. Using his opponent's momentum, he pushed back with surprising force, overwhelming the larger boy. In a single powerful motion, he slammed Kangu to the ground. The delinquent let out a pained cry, the toothpick snapping in his mouth from the impact. The once feared tough guy lay defeated. The crowd was stunned into silence. Kangu's thugs could only stare in shock. Hime watched with a blush, completely captivated. Snapping back to reality, Atsumu nervously suggested a hasty retreat. With a sigh of relief, Hime quickly grabbed his sleeve and pulled the bewildered Atsumu away, leaving Kangu's crew to cry out for their fallen leader. Later, the two groups sat at a tense table with a dejected Kangu sulking between his friends. Atsumu calmly suggested they settle things with a conversation. He gently asked Kangu to explain his outburst, but the delinquent just glared sullenly. His friends pointed out that Atsumu was strong and got to date the prettiest girl. Kangu finally broke, lamenting how he was humiliated in class and embarrassed himself. Overcome, he struggled to hold back tears of frustration. He erupted, admitting he was just incredibly jealous of guys like Atsumu who were popular with girls. The delinquent broke down, confessing he felt pathetic for losing when all he wanted was to vent. Atsumu was baffled by the confession. He thoughtfully considered the tearful outburst. He realized his friendship with Hime was a misunderstanding that made him look popular. The dejected Kangu continued to sulk. Looking at the group, Atsumu insisted that, from his point of view, they actually seemed pretty cool. Kangu bitterly explained their intimidating looks always prevented them from getting along with girls. The three friends shared a silent moment of agreement, each burdened by social struggles. Atsumu questioned if appearance was truly the reason. Kangu lamented his large frame and imposing face scared girls away. His friend added his long hair and pale skin gave a frightening appearance. The third friend chimed in, explaining his single eyelids made him look like he was constantly glaring. He confessed they'd all decided to act like delinquents, thinking it was the only way to become popular. Hime gently scolded them, pointing out their aggressive tactics were completely wrong. They sheepishly apologized, admitting their plan wasn't working. Atsumu sympathetically agreed he understood their struggle. While the boys sulked, Hime quietly sipped her drink, a thoughtful expression on her face. Atsumu mused that, in his opinion, the three didn't actually look that bad. A blushing Hime seemed to have an idea. Realizing appearance wasn't the real problem, she tapped Atsumu's cup, her mind flashing back to his incredible makeup skills. With newfound confidence, she asked if he would do makeup for the three boys. Atsumu agreed with a beaming smile, leaving Hime flustered by his immediate acceptance. The three delinquents looked on with skepticism but reluctantly agreed. With a confident wink, Atsumu prepared his tools. He proudly presented the results. Their stunned voices echoed in disbelief. He explained how he used makeup to give the first boy a mysterious elongated look. For the second, he used foundation and clever styling for a softer appearance. He gave Kongu a pair of glasses, transforming his intimidating features into a gentle expression. The three friends stared at their reflections, shocked by the handsome strangers looking back. Overjoyed, they celebrated their newfound confidence, no longer needing a tough facade. Atsumu offered final advice. True confidence comes from learning to love yourself. The three former delinquents were now his devoted followers, calling him sensei with stars in their eyes. Hime shyly thanked Atsumu for his help while the newly reformed trio watched in awe. He casually dismissed her thanks, saying this was nothing compared to his old job, leaving him blushing with relief. Hime looked at him with admiration, realizing his effort. Atsumu turned to her, asking if she was no longer worried about Kongu and his friends. She smiled warmly, explaining she now understood how they felt and was no longer afraid. Atsumu suddenly noticed the time, apologizing that their date was sidetracked. Hime's eyes lit up as she insisted it was okay because now they had a reason to see each other every day. He leaned in close, whispering that they could see each other daily, making Hime blush furiously with a shy but hopeful expression. She admitted she'd love it if they could go out again. He realized this was the first time he'd ever felt truly accepted, a stark contrast to his life with his sisters. A sense of calm washed over him. Hime blushed, genuinely happy she was able to help him. After the makeover, the new friends commemorated the day with a group photo before heading home. He reflected on the chaotic but fun day, realizing this was what a normal youthful experience felt like. Looking at the photo, Hime hoped they could create many more happy memories. The story recapped his expulsion and his new life, made possible by the generous chairman of Yumakoshi Academy. He was finally living the dream of a normal high school life, having befriended the school's most beautiful girl. The next day, as the final bell rang, Hime turned back with a shy glance. But before Atsumu could say anything, a newly confident Kongu nervously asked Hime out on a date. Hime glared with icy resolve, flatly refusing. Her cold rejection froze the entire classroom, leaving Kongu metaphorically encased in ice. Students whispered, believing her harsh response confirmed the rumors of the unapproachable Ice Queen. As the classroom buzzed, Hime nervously gripped her bag, unable to explain her true intentions. Blushing furiously, she clarified she already had after-school plans with someone else. With that, she dashed out, determined to continue her makeup lessons with Atsumu. She was frustrated, realizing yesterday's practice wasn't enough to overcome her crippling shyness. The narration explained how the initial rumor of her talking to Atsumu grew into a school-wide story that she had finally broken her silence. As a result, hopeful students tried to approach her, only to be met with the same misunderstood rejection. On the rooftop, Atsumu looked out over the city. Having figured out the perfect solution, he gently applied her makeup, coaching her through the process as her heart thumped nervously. Away from prying eyes, he beamed with pride, amazed at how quickly Hime was mastering the art. She held a brush with newfound confidence, her skills growing daily. They discovered the makeup gave her the confidence to speak, a breakthrough she credited entirely to his teaching. He began teaching her to do it herself, though he offered to be her personal makeup artist anytime. He cheerfully told her she could always rely on him because that's what friends were for. The word always sent Hime's mind spiraling into a flustered fantasy of marriage. Just then, a luxury car screeched to a halt outside the gates of Heron High School. A familiar, glamorous figure stepped out, flanked by bodyguards. With a determined glint in her eye, she and her entourage strode onto campus to find him. Meanwhile, Atsumu and Hime happily agreed to walk home together, unaware of the approaching trouble. As they left, Atsumu noticed a large, noisy crowd gathered outside the school. They looked closer, and his expression shifted as he started to recognize the center of attention. The famous idol was mobbed by a frantic crowd of fans begging for autographs and photos. Overwhelmed, she broke into a nervous sweat, her eyes locked onto a familiar figure in the distance. Hime stared in disbelief as the celebrity pushed through the crowd, heading straight for them. The girl was Ashia Asuka, the lead singer of the top idol group ***. Asuka ignored everyone else, telling a stunned Atsumu she'd been looking for him. The student body erupted in whispers, shocked that the new kid knew both the Ice Queen and a famous idol. Hime muttered in confusion, completely baffled. Unused to the spotlight, Atsumu nervously sweated while Hime looked on with concern. Students wondered if Atsumu was secretly a major player in the entertainment industry. Hime put a finger to her lips, admitting she wasn't familiar with the idol world. Atsumu asked if she knew Asuka, but the idol just gave him a cold, dismissive stare. A classmate excitedly explained that Asuka was the incredibly famous center of Asterisk. Hime's face fell as she learned about the idol's fame, and Atsumu noticed her sudden gloom. He cheerfully clarified they were classmates at his old school, and she was his only friend. Asuka suddenly grabbed his hand, insisting they needed to talk privately and pulling him away. She leaned in close, her expression serious as she told him she needed him by her side. Hime's heart fluttered with a mix of shock and jealousy as she witnessed their intimate moment. Without another word, Asuka began to dash off, dragging a confused Atsumu along. The remaining students could only stare in disbelief. Hime stood frozen in the crowd, her plans for strawberry cake replaced by a rumbling sense of betrayal. His words about Asuka being his only friend echoed in her mind, twisting into a sharp pang of jealousy. With a frustrated pout, she silently fumed, feeling foolish for getting her hopes up. As the crowd chattered, Asuka's luxury car waited by the school gates. Thrown into the back seat, a bewildered Atsumu demanded to know what she wanted. Asuka ignored him, ordering her driver to speed away immediately. As the car peeled out, Atsumu panicked, realizing he'd just been unceremoniously abducted. The idol turned to him with a blush, insisting he drop formalities and call her by her first name. Her sudden request for closeness left him flustered. He tried to get answers, but she cut him off, declaring his past as a behind-the-scenes nobody didn't matter. She explained with a blush that her drastic actions were for his own benefit. His heart pounded as he reeled from her shocking proposal to become her official support staff. Asuka gave him a flat look, questioning why he was so surprised by her incredible offer. She reminded him of his legendary past managing the 7 Amagasaki sisters, calling his skills too valuable to waste. He clenches his fist, humbly admitting to his past role but downplaying his abilities. With a passionate blush, she insisted she believed in his talent and needed him by her side. Atsumu was torn between his desire for a normal life and his flattered reaction to her praise. Seeing his hesitation, Asuka made a desperate move, offering to pay him in cash on the spot. She leaned in close, grabbing his hoodie and anxiously asking if her generous offer wasn't good enough. He realized her proposal was the perfect solution to his financial crisis. With tears in her eyes, Asuka desperately pleaded for him to accept. Overwhelmed by her plea and his own desperation, he agreed to become her official support. His mind flashed to a flustered Hime, who would surely see this as a betrayal. The narration recapped that Asuka, the famous idol and his old acquaintance, had now taken him under her wing. Atsumu was left clueless, wondering what his new role involved. Asuka's expression turned serious as she pointedly asked about the beautiful girl he was with. He innocently explained Hime was just a friend, not realizing the implications. The idol's glare intensified, her jealousy flaring as she repeated his dismissive phrase. Atsumu felt a pang of guilt, remembering he'd left Hime behind. Asuka leaned in with a possessive pout, demanding his full attention now that he worked for her. With a determined blush, she warned him to prepare herself as she'd make sure he could only think of her. Completely flustered, Atsumu could only manage a nervous agreement. As they drove, he marveled at the city billboards, realizing the massive celebrity was treating him with surprising familiarity. He acknowledged her status as the undisputed #1 idol. Their car pulled up to a large studio where Asuka announced they'd be filming a promotional video. Inside, she boldly declared Atsumu would be handling the makeup for every single member of the group. Atsumu blinked in confusion. The reality hit him, and he panicked at the thought. He protested this wasn't their deal, but she reminded him she'd seen his work on his sister Mitsuki during a joint performance. Asuka looked down on him with a cold glare, calling him useless for his hesitation. She strode confidently into the studio while Atsumu followed with deep uncertainty. They walked down a sterile hallway lined with vending machines. The filming director, Oizumi Takashi, greeted Asuka with enthusiastic praise for her new song, predicting a massive hit. Asuka humbly bowed in gratitude. With fiery determination, she declared she'd poured her soul into the lyrics and would give the performance her all. Atsumu watched in surprise as they both bowed respectfully. He was left in awe of her professional demeanor. The weight of the director's words sank in. Asuka led him to their dressing room. He connected the dots, realizing she'd written the new song's lyrics herself. Standing before the asterisk dressing room, she turned to him, emphasizing how crucial this shoot was. Atsumu panicked, terrified he'd ruin her entire project. He frantically tried to back out, insisting someone else would be better. Asuka cut him off, telling him his self-doubt missed the point. She declared that, as a pro, she chose him specifically for the legendary skills he used on his sister. With renewed confidence, she grabbed the doorknob, certain the other members would welcome him. She burst into the dressing room, proudly announcing she'd brought their new makeup artist. But they'd walked in on the entire idol group in the middle of changing. Both Atsumu and Asuka were hit with a wave of blushing shock at the revealing scene. Asuka slammed the door shut, pushing a completely frozen Atsumu out. After a tense moment, he admitted he saw everything, earning a sharp glare from the flustered idol. She furiously rejected his apology, slamming the door and insisting it wasn't okay. A few minutes later, they cautiously re-entered to face the fully clothed group. Both bowed in unison, offering a frantic, deeply embarrassed apology. A member named Suzuka calmly pointed out their leader, Asuka, should have known to knock first. Asuka bowed even lower, taking full responsibility. Another member, Kwan, gently told Asuka to raise her head. A third idol chided the forgiving Kwan, saying she was far too lenient. The other members, Shino and Kuromi, debated the issue. A bold member named Midori chimed in, shamelessly admitting she'd rather he looked more. The final member, Kojuer, reacted with flustered shock, insisting Midori's exhibitionist attitude was also not okay. Asuka took responsibility, admitting the awkward situation was her fault since makeup requires trust. Atsumu pondered how to salvage it. Realizing he'd made a terrible first impression, Suzuka diffused the tension, suggesting they call it even and let the newcomer introduce himself. Asuka nervously made the official introduction, presenting Atsumu as their new makeup artist. The other members reacted with shock and disbelief. Panic erupted as they realized their new artist was a high schooler they just met under awkward circumstances. But Kwan glared coldly, declaring she was firmly against having him. She explained that while she forgave the intrusion, this new development changed everything. Kwan emphasized the importance of their new song, for which Asuka had poured her heart into the lyrics. Therefore, it was unacceptable to entrust their faces to an inexperienced high schooler who'd just seen them changing. Asuka's expression hardened, insisting Kwan's concern was the very reason for her choice. She turned to the group, apologizing to everyone, including Atsumu, for the chaotic introduction. With a determined look, she prepared to make a bold statement. Asuka proudly declared Atsumu wasn't just a student, but the absolute best artist she'd personally selected. She passionately vouched for his skills, promising the stunned group they wouldn't regret trusting him. Kwan felt a mix of admiration and shame while other members started to voice support. The other idols agreed to go along, placing their trust in their leader's judgment. Atsumu clenched his fist, questioning his own hesitation when everyone was now believing in him. A cheerful member broke the tension, suggesting they move past the awkwardness and do proper introductions. With a bright smile and a clap, she enthusiastically proposed they all start over on a positive note. Atsumu swallowed hard, the weight of their expectations settling on his shoulders. Asuka tapped his shoulder, offering a reassuring touch. She reminded him she'd chosen him for a reason, her faith unwavering. Her confident declaration that he was the one she wanted left him completely moved. He reflected that her belief in him was something he'd never experienced before. Steeling his resolve, he realized there was only one way to repay her trust. With newfound confidence, he formally introduced himself and vowed to support Asterisk with all his might. The narration confirmed he'd been entrusted with the makeup for the top idol group's new music video. Determined not to let Asuka down, he prepared to give it his all. The filming flew by in a blur. Before he knew it, the shoot was over. The director and idols were all thrilled with the final result, a testament to his incredible skill. On the brilliantly lit stage, the entire crew celebrated the successful wrap-up. Standing apart from the celebration, Atsumu quietly reflected on his own small contribution. While the director beamed with satisfaction, Atsumu felt a familiar sense of being an outsider. He clutched the video script, a reminder of the one-day-at-a-time philosophy that got him through. Asuka proudly praised his work in front of the entire group, calling him by his last last name. The fluorescent buzz of the studio lights hummed around Atsumu as he stood frozen, the praise from the idols of Asterisk hitting him like a physical wave. He panicked, stammering incoherently. Asuka watched him, her eyes soft with genuine gratitude. A cheerful member clarified they just wanted to thank him for his hard work. Atsumu blushed, deeply unaccustomed to such direct appreciation. Another idol confirmed his makeup was the key to the video's great shots. Even the once skeptical Kwan offered a blushing, heartfelt thank you. Suzuka added her thanks, her expression a mix of gratitude and admiration. One member explained his flawless makeup gave them all the confidence they needed. Atsumu deflected, insisting the team's hard work made the video a success. But Suzuka stepped forward, recalling how he first studied the lights and camera angles. She declared his attention to detail proved he was a true professional. Passionately, she grabbed his arm, insisting he stop being so modest. The other members teased Suzuka for her enthusiasm. Asuka smiled proudly, noting that was why she chose him. Suddenly, the director threw an arm around the startled Atsumu, praising his perfect work. He pressed the idols, asking if they noticed his other contributions. To everyone's surprise, the camera and lighting crew chimed in, thanking Atsumu for teaching them so much. The director excitedly revealed Atsumu had been secretly helping the entire production. The lighting, camera, and choreography staff all confessed he provided invaluable assistance. The idols were floored, realizing his support went far beyond makeup. Asuka smirked, smugly confirming she knew about his secret contributions all along. Then she dropped a bombshell. He was the legendary former manager of the Amagasaki sisters. The set erupted in confused demands for an explanation. A flustered Atsumu found himself at the center of attention, trying to explain his complicated past. The crew struggled to comprehend a manager who could handle lighting, production, and flawless makeup. The director offered him a job on the spot. Powerful voice agreed. Everyone turned to see a woman stride onto the set. Asuka smiled. The woman was Makage Hashiag, president of Asuka's agency, Starliner. The president explained Asuka had told her about him, and she had watched the music video on her way over. Atsumu realized with a jolt who she was. President Hashikage looked at him with an appraising gaze, thanking him personally. His work, she said, had brought out a new side of Asuka she'd never seen. With confidence, she extended her hand and pointed at him, officially asking him to work for her agency. The crew enthusiastically agreed, welcoming him with open arms. The director beamed, convinced they could achieve incredible things together. Asuka reached out, passionately declaring she could reach even greater heights with him by her side. Atsumu was stunned, envisioning her on a massive stage, a dazzling star at her peak. But his mind flashed to Hime. He saw her hopeful, blushing smile at the school gates, asking if they could hang out again. With a heavy heart and newfound resolve, he turned his back on the offer. Asuka's confident expression crumbled into disbelief. He looked down, quietly apologizing and turning down the job. The president and director stared, unable to process his rejection. He explained his skills weren't sufficient and he had other priorities. His true desire, he admitted, was to live a normal high school life. He bowed formally to the stunned crew. The president accepted his decision with a sad smile. The director looked on understandingly. A furious Asuka called him an idiot before the president dismissed everyone, ending the discussion. With a determined blush, the idol silently vowed she would never give up. The director cheerfully broke the tension, telling his crew to get back to work. The team warmly offered to let Atsumu visit the studio and use their equipment anytime. The Asterisk members all invited him back, their words echoing as he thought of Hime waiting. He apologized again to the disappointed crew, hoping to work together in the future. Meanwhile, Hime waited, clutching a script titled One Day at a Time, beaming with gratitude for his help. It had become a symbol of her growing confidence. In her car, a smug Asuka scoffed, plotting her next move. She admitted she'd been sure he would accept. As the car sped away, she vowed to clear up his misunderstandings. A determined blush spread across her face as she planned a special gift for him, confident it would win his heart. The day's wild events replayed, his abduction by an idol, the successful shoot, the president's approval. Yet he chose his normal school life one day at a time. Later that night, outside his dorm, he celebrated a personal victory with pure joy. He finally had a brand new smartphone, a surprise gift from Asuka. He was grateful, able to watch his favorite streamer again. A flashback revealed her smug satisfaction at solving his money problems. He blushed, discovering the phone's wallpaper was a cute, winking picture of Asuka herself. Sitting in his room, he glanced at the time. The live stream was about to start. He sighed with embarrassment, realizing Asuka had locked the phone, so he couldn't change the wallpaper. The streamer Kagaya greeted her audience, ready to continue her Meowcraft series. Atsumu lay on his bed, watching with a huge smile. He was struck by a shocking realization. His favorite streamer, Kagaya, was Hime. The streamer let out a frustrated cry. A thief cat named Golden Twintails had stolen her super rare grapes. She pouted with adorable frustration. Atsumu was puzzled. He'd never seen Kagaya this genuinely angry before. He tried to brush it off as fatigue, but the Golden Twintails cat reminded him of someone. His mind flashed to Asuka. The in-game cat was a jab at her. He felt a pang of guilt, resolving to apologize to Hime properly the next day. The next morning at school, he nervously tried to apologize. A blushing Hime told him not to worry, then admitted she had been quite angry he broke their promise. To make it up, Atsumu offered to buy her donuts. Hime shyly countered, asking for a new makeup kit instead, her eyes sparkling with delight. Her intense reaction gave Atsumu a brilliant idea. He excitedly told her he finally got that thing he'd been wanting, leaving her puzzled. He revealed his new smartphone. Hime celebrated his good news. He casually suggested they exchange numbers. A stunned Hime was at a loss for words. Overcome with emotion, she turned away by the lockers, leaving a confused Atsumu. With a determined blush, she realized she'd be the first contact in his new phone. Later in class, her unusually cheerful mood sparked whispers. A new rumor started to spread, leaving an oblivious Hime to wonder what was happening. The classroom buzzed with gossip. Atsumu cringed, assuming the commotion was because he was seen with a famous idol yesterday. The teacher's voice cut through the chatter, announcing a new transfer student. The door slid open. Atsumu and Hime stared in wide-eyed disbelief. The new student was the famous idol Asuka, who greeted the class with a dazzling smile. The entire male population was rendered speechless. While the boys lost their minds, Hime's excitement turned to deep concern. The classroom erupted into chaos. Asuka basked in the attention, cheerfully confirming the rumors were true. The teacher struggled to regain control, then directed the new student to an open seat, the desk right next to Atsumu. Hime stared, her excitement shattered. Atsumu sat awkwardly between the two girls, realizing this dream scenario felt like a nightmare. Asuka winked playfully at him, smugly asking if he was surprised. He demanded to know why she transferred. She cheerfully admitted she just wanted to be with him. With a determined blush, she vowed not to let him get away. The idol then turned her attention to Hime, a new rival. Hime glared back with icy formality, her jealousy barely concealed. But Asuka countered with a dazzling smile, cheerfully introducing herself. Flustered, Hime tried to reclaim Atsumu's attention, suggesting they exchange numbers at lunch. Asuka watched with a smug smirk. Asuka pointed out he was holding the very phone she gifted him. She revealed her contact info was already saved, making Hime's request pointless. The two rivals locked eyes, their intense glares sparking with unspoken hostility. Hime was flustered, unable to compete with that confidence. Sparks flew in a silent war, with Atsumu caught in the crossfire. Asuka leaned in to taunt her rival with a familiar nickname. Hime glared back, refusing to back down. Atsumu broke into a cold sweat. This tense confrontation was just like the one from Kagaya's livestream, the thief cat and the streamer facing off in real life. He looked out at the school, his dream of a peaceful high school life now shattered. Meanwhile, a storm raged over the Amagasaki mansion. In the rain-swept mansion, the idol sister Mitsuki questioned her own disastrous choices. Her room was a disaster, reflecting her spiraling career. Her phone buzzed with endless hate mail. She lamented that all she wanted was to be the best. The Amagasaki agency had already brought in a new intern to replace the brother they cast out. They smugly believed their careers would finally take off without his restrictive presence. But back in the present, an urgent phone call rang, demanding Mitsuki's attention. Without his support, the cracks in their empire were already appearing. The fifth daughter, Mitsuki, snarled into the phone, annoyed. Still lounging in her messy room, she impatiently demanded to know what the caller wanted. On the other end, the new intern, Harimar Ryema panicked, warning that things were spiraling out of control. Mitsuki scoffed, dismissively calling her a rookie. The idol complained the call interrupted her sleep. Ryema frantically insisted it was an emergency. Mitsuki remained unconcerned until the intern's next words broke through her apathy. She was trending on the internet. A smug smile spread across Mitsuki's face. She reveled in the news, believing her plan to go viral had succeeded. She triumphantly assumed her selfie was the cause, confirming she never needed her brother's help. Delusions of grandeur filled her mind, but her celebration was cut short. The real trending news was about her rival, Asuka. An article praised Asterisk's new music video. A stunned Mitsuki questioned what was happening. She seethed with rage, dismissing her rivals as calculated performers. She tried to brush off their success, insisting her own viral fame was all that mattered. With a crazed look, she vowed to surpass them. But the real headline revealed a career-ending scandal. She'd been caught with alcohol while underage. Her triumphant smirk shattered into pure shock. Her eyes widened in horror. She panicked, remembering she thought she'd hidden the can from the camera's view. In a fit of rage, she brandished a stick. Mitsuki clutched her head in despair, admitting she was careless. The source of her downfall was a single can of beer left in the shot. But in a moment of panic, she saw a solution. Just delete the incriminating photo. With a manic grin, she moved to erase the evidence. Another incoming call interrupted her. Mitsuki answered with pure annoyance. It was the rookie intern again. Mitsuki brushed her hair back, feeling she'd handled everything. The intern desperately tried to explain how to properly handle the scandal now all over the news. Ryema panicked, knowing deleting the post would only fuel the fire. Mitsuki smugly informed her it was too late. She'd already deleted it. The intern's words hit her like a truck. Deleting the post was the same as admitting guilt. As the storm raged outside, an even bigger one brewed within. Her phone began to buzz uncontrollably. Hundreds of notifications flooded her screen. Mitsuki's smug confidence shattered, replaced by dawning horror. The endless stream of alerts became a deafening roar. She was bombarded by a tidal wave of online hate. Her carefully crafted image crumbled in an instant. Mitsuki erupted in a furious tantrum, screaming that her fans were supposed to forgive her. Trapped in her room, she couldn't escape the relentless digital assault. Overwhelmed, she hurled her phone across the room, continued to buzz relentlessly. Mitsuki broke down in tears, pleading for the storm of hate to end. She curled into a ball on the floor, completely defeated. The next morning, the city was calm. Inside the Amagasaki agency, the president's office dealt with the fallout. President Amagasaki Amana stared at a news report, demanding to know how this happened. Her secretary, Kamiyuki, reported that a depressed Mitsuki had locked herself away. The president fumed that she gave them freedom, never expecting such a catastrophe. The secretary confirmed Mitsuki was ignoring all calls. President Amon cut to the point, demanding to know the full financial damage. The secretary grimly concluded the losses exceeded a staggering 100 million yen. To recoup them, the other Amagasaki sisters would be forced to work even harder. The president fumed, not over her daughter's crisis, but over all the luxury goods she could have bought with the lost money. The secretary stared with cold realization, seeing her boss valued profit far more than her own family. The secretary's thoughts shifted to the new intern, wondering how she was handling the agency's implosion. The actress Io declared Mitsuki had no one to blame but herself. Ryema voiced her concern, but Io dismissed it, callously writing off her sister's only qualities as reckless energy. Io coldly asked the new intern for the materials for her next role. She glanced at the script with disdain, complaining the preparation was far less detailed than she was used to. The intern nervously handed it over, wondering if the actress had given up on her sister. Ryema stammered, asking if the script wasn't enough. Io confirmed that was all there was. Ryema struggled to understand what more complete materials would look like. She recalled their former manager provided exhaustive notes on line delivery, expressions, and deep character psychology. She was stunned, realizing the level of support Atsumu gave was unheard of in the industry. But Io scoffed at the idea, questioning why she couldn't just study the script and adjust on set. Her cold glare revealed deep-seated arrogance, devaluing her brother's meticulous preparation. Turning away, she callously asked if the intern expected her to bother with such unnecessary details. She arrogantly claimed an actor's job was simple, requiring them only to recite lines from a script. Rima, the intern, could only stare in bewildered silence as Io turned and walked away. The model's abrupt shift left a cloud of confusion hanging in the air. Io herself was already moving on, announcing it was time to prepare, her focus shifting to the upcoming shoot. Yet outside the studio window, dark clouds began to gather, a mirror to the shadows encroaching upon her professional world. Meanwhile, Atsumu found himself in a moment of quiet reflection. The past few days had been a whirlwind. The arrival of Asuka Ashiya as a transfer student had injected a sharp, palpable tension into his classroom, especially in her interactions with Tsukio Himeji. Driven by the need for a stable income to support his independent living situation, he had made a decision. It was time for a new part-time job. His first shift began now. He stood before the entrance of a cozy local establishment called Cafe Sunset, took a steadying breath, and pushed the door open. The bell above chimed softly. Now dressed in the cafe's uniform, a fresh nervousness hummed beneath his skin. He offered a practiced smile to the customers who entered. "Welcome to Cafe Sunset," he said, guiding them to a table. Himeji had recommended this place to him, and by a fortunate coincidence, they were hiring. This was his very first foray into customer service, and every movement felt deliberate, every word carefully measured. Suddenly, a voice burst through his concentration. "Akin, that welcoming voice of yours is perfect." A coworker popped up beside him, her eyes sparkling with enthusiastic approval. Atsumu introduced her as Nishinomiya Akane, one of his few childhood friends. They had played together often in the past, but lost contact after his family moved away. He'd gotten lucky with this job precisely because they knew each other. She worked here helping her grandfather, the owner. Hearing the old nickname Akin sent a warm, nostalgic wave through him. Memories surfaced of two children running through summer streets, calling each other by silly nicknames without a second thought. The Akane from those days was a bold, energetic tomboy. The young woman before him now was undeniably more feminine, and he had to admit to himself, quite cute. "So the cafe Himeji-chan told you about was my shop," Akane said, her smile widening. "It's amazing, really. We were just looking for staff. I'm so happy we get to work together on your first job." Her enthusiasm then sharpened into playful determination. "I'm gonna train you super hard, okay?" Atsumu felt a bead of sweat trail down his temple. "Please go easy on me," he pleaded before shifting the subject. He reached up to touch his hair. "Hey, do I really have to keep my bangs pinned up like this? Feels weird. Makes my eyes look girly." Akane's response was immediate and firm. "It's not good for food service. You'll get used to it." Her expression then softened. "Besides, I think it really suits you better." Her grandfather, the owner, chimed in from across the room with a nod of agreement, affirming the hairstyle looked good on him. Seeing Atsumu was managing the customers, the owner suggested he try a new task. Akane explained the register was automatic and she handled the food, but there was still the coffee. "It's hand drip," she said, "so it's a little difficult." Atsumu's response surprised her. "Oh, I know how to make hand drip." He explained that his third sister, Mika, had been extremely particular about her coffee, and he was often tasked with brewing it for her. Akane's eyes lit up. "Then you're on coffee duty for the next order," she declared. The familiar task brought back a flood of memories. He never imagined the skills he'd learned under his sister's stern gaze would ever be useful elsewhere. A new sense of purpose filled him. He would brew delicious coffee for every customer. Just then, the bell on the door chimed again. He turned with his professional greeting ready. The words died in his throat. Standing in the doorway were Himeji and Asuka, their postures stiff, an aura of intense discomfort radiating from them both. Shock locked Atsumu in place. Were they here together? Had they become friends? One glance at their strained, silent faces dissolved that hope instantly. This was no friendly outing. Asuka broke the silence first, her voice edged with irritation. "Himeji, why are you here? It's your day off." Himeji's retort was cool and pointed. "I could ask you the same. I could have gone anywhere, but this is my usual spot." Atsumu's nerves spiked. Forcing himself into his work persona, he stepped forward, a warm, professional smile plastered on his face. "Welcome, please. Come in." The effect was instantaneous. Both girls blinked, their hostile stances melting into flustered surprise, cheeks dusted pink. Puzzled by their sudden change in mood, Atsumu led them to a table for two. "May I take your order?" Asuka glanced at the menu. "What do you recommend? How about our coffee?" Atsumu offered. "I'll brew it myself." "Yes, please," they answered in eager, perfect unison, then immediately scowled at each other for the synchronization. An awkward, heavy silence descended upon their table. Himeji pouted, annoyed to be sharing a space with her rival. The air between them grew thick with unspoken competition. From behind the counter, Akane leaned toward Atsumu. "Friends from your class?" she whispered. "They don't seem very close." Atsumu scratched his cheek sheepishly. "Yeah, I honestly have no idea what's going on with them either." Akane simply giggled in response, leaving Atsumu even more confused. Back at the table, Asuka took a sharp breath. "I'll confess," she announced. "While this is my regular cafe, I also came because I heard Atsumu was working here." The meaning was clear. Himeji's eyes widened slightly, so she likes him too. She was struck by how clearly Asuka spoke here, so different from her hesitant self at school. Not backing down, Asuka challenged her directly. "You should confess too. What do you think about him?" Himeji met her rival's gaze, the intensity in her own eyes unwavering. After a moment, she gave a single, firm nod. Challenge accepted. Meanwhile, Atsumu began the meticulous process of brewing. He checked the water temperature with focused care. "The hot water's ready," Akane called out, watching him with nervous encouragement. "Give it a try." A wave of nostalgia washed over him. How long had it been since he'd done this? He poured the hot water over the fresh coffee grounds in a slow, steady spiral. Akane watched, her initial worry giving way to clear admiration. The rich, pleasant aroma filled his senses. He remembered then, even though his sister could be scary, he never truly hated making coffee for her. At the table, the quiet spat continued. Asuka huffed. "You just don't get it." Atsumu's own thought was a quiet counterpoint to their tension. "I want them both to enjoy a delicious cup." Asuka leaned forward, emphatic. "The first thing to focus on is his uniform. The cafe garçon style fits him perfectly. Seeing him work so earnestly, it makes my heart squeeze." Himeji countered without missing a beat. "The hairstyle is definitely the main point. His pinned-up bangs show off his cute, clear eyes. They have a serious feel to them that's simply the best." Their glares clashed, a silent storm passing between them. Annoying girl, Asuka thought. Himeji, reluctantly, conceded a silent point. "My rival isn't bad." Atsumu approached their table, carrying 2 steaming cups. Earlier, Akane had sampled his brew and been amazed, exclaiming it was just like her grandpa's and calling him a genius. Now, he placed the cups before the girls, hoping the delicious, relaxing aroma would ease the palpable friction between them. Both girls were captivated, the thought that he had made this just for them warming them more than the porcelain in their hands. "It smells wonderful," Asuka admitted softly. "It does smell nice," Himeji agreed, her voice barely above a murmur. They each lifted their cups and sipped, their eyes flew wide in unison. "It's delicious," they exclaimed together. Asuka continued, impressed. "I've had barista-made coffee on TV shoots, but this is much better." Himeji nodded. "It's smooth, mild, and easy to drink. Perfect even for someone like me who dislikes bitter things." Asuka immediately raised her empty cup. "Another, please," she called out, astonishing Akane with her speed. Atsumu, equally surprised they had finished so quickly, brought them a second serving. A small hope flickered in his chest. Maybe the coffee had helped them relax, maybe they could get along now. At the table, Asuka set her cup down with a soft click. "Temporary truce?" she proposed. "Agreed," Himeji said. "Fighting over this would be a waste. Our goal here is likely the same anyway." They spoke the next words in perfect, deliberate unison. "Our true purpose is to watch Atsumu work and be healed." Seeing them finally speaking without venom, Atsumu let out a sigh of relief. Akane, however, watched the empty cups with growing concern. Just how many are they going to order? The owner, curious about the commotion, wandered over and wanted to try the famous coffee himself. The influence of the 2 famous girls sitting by the window was undeniable. Other customers, noticing their enjoyment, began placing their own orders for the special hand-drip coffee. A sudden, steady flood of requests filled the cafe. As another customer entered, a flustered Atsumu called out, "Please, wait just a moment." Akane rushed to the window and paled. "Atsumu, something terrible is happening outside." A massive line of people had formed, stretching down the street from the cafe's entrance. Overwhelmed but rallying, Akane turned to him with determined eyes. "We just have to do our best." Atsumu met her gaze, his initial panic solidifying into calm confidence. "Leave it to me. I'm used to being busy." His assured tone left Akane genuinely impressed. He would later learn the commotion began because fans of Asuka and Himeji had spotted them by the window, prompting the impulsive lineup. After a long, relentless rush, they finally managed to serve the last customer and close the shop. Exhaustion hung in the air, mixed with the lingering scent of coffee. Asuka and Himeji offered sincere apologies, feeling responsible for the chaos. Akane waved it off with a tired but genuine smile. "It's okay, we sold a ton. It was thanks to Atsumu being here, too." Atsumu, who felt he hadn't done much beyond making coffee, was taken aback by the praise. Akane gave him a meaningful look he couldn't quite decipher. As they wiped down the last tables, Akane paused and watched Atsumu for a moment. Her voice was quiet, almost to herself. "You've really grown up." Atsumu stopped, confused. "Ha!" Akane blinked, then flushed a deep red, flustered by her own words. She quickly backtracked, waving her hands. I just meant to thank you for your hard work on your first day. That's all." Her hurried explanation did not escape the suspicious, watchful eyes of Himeji and Asuka, who were preparing to leave. As they stepped out, the two girls muttered to each other about the unusual atmosphere and how close Akane seemed to be with Atsumu. From the doorway, Akane cheerfully called after them, "Please come again, both of you." Having survived the frantic pace of his first day, Atsumu now moved through the cafe with a sense of earned calm. The surge of customers sparked by Asuka's visit had lasted several days, but today the atmosphere had finally settled back into its normal, quiet rhythm. Atsumu felt a quiet contentment. The work was relaxing. Akane, wiping down the counter, expressed her pride that they had managed the rush together. Atsumu nodded in agreement. He was still amazed that Asuka's influence had generated an entire article about the small cafe. His admiration for the idol's reach was evident. Noticing his expression, Akane leaned forward with a curious frown. "So how did you even become friends with a top idol like Asuka?" she asked. Atsumu could only offer a helpless smile. "We just sort of became friends without me really knowing how." Akane's frown deepened before she declared, "Well, if she comes again, I want to properly meet her." Atsumu clearly agreed. The quiet moment was interrupted by news from the television. The announcement revealed that Takarasuka would be the lead in the upcoming production of The Magic Snow, a major theatrical event. Akane's eyes lit up at the news. Atsumu, however, looked blank. "Who is that?" Akane sighed, explaining that Takarasuka was a famous theater actress their age, known for playing male roles so perfectly she was nicknamed Prince and adored by a massive female fanbase. "If someone that famous ever came here, I'd definitely faint," she exclaimed. Atsumu simply smiled. "Then we'll just have to be extra friendly if she does." Just then, the door chime sounded. Both Atsumu and Akane looked up with hopeful anticipation, but the figure who entered wore a hood and sunglasses, looking distinctly suspicious. It was Asuka, still in disguise. Asuka huffed, removing her glasses. "You invited me, remember? After last time, a disguise is necessary," she insisted, before turning to Atsumu. "And I told you, drop the formalities. No more The door chime rang again. Another hopeful glance from the pair revealed Tsukio stepping inside. Tsukio and Asuka stared at each other, equally shocked. Atsumu, breaking the tension, smiled warmly. "I'm happy to see you both here together." He gestured to a table. When they sat, they chose seats side by side. Asuka blinked. "Why are you sitting next to me?" Tsukio replied calmly. "If I wasn't here, I wouldn't get to see Atsumu." Atsumu, misunderstanding, beamed. "See, you're already getting along." Akane seized the moment. "Now, Atsumu, introduce us. You promised." Atsumu hesitated, then relented. The cafe was still quiet, so it was a good time. He felt a flutter of nervous excitement. Introducing someone as his friend was a first for him. But as he began, a heavy, dark aura seemed to emanate from Asuka and Tsukio. The air grew tense. Atsumu wondered if introducing friends was always this difficult. He pushed forward. "Tsukio is my classmate and my first friend at school. Asuka is an idol from Asterisk who just transferred into our class, too." He added, "Tsukio and I always eat lunch together, and Asuka and I go to the same school now, so we're becoming close." Both Asuka and Tsukio brightened noticeably at his descriptions. Before Atsumu could introduce Akane, she stepped forward, looping her arm through his. "I'm Atsumu's childhood friend," she stated proudly, emphasizing the weight of that title. She explained she was the cafe owner's granddaughter, that they used to play together constantly and had now reunited here. She held onto his arm, making her point clear. A distinctly annoyed look passed over both Asuka and Tsukiyo's faces. They retorted that a childhood friend probably didn't know Atsumu's current life at all. Unfazed, Akane countered, "When Atsumu was little, everyone thought he was a girl. I used to dress him up. You should have seen how cute he was." She mentioned that some news snippets even called the cafe's cute new server a draw. Atsumu stared, completely blindsided by this information. The door chime rang a third time. A new customer entered and immediately shifted into a posture of perfect, charming grace. Akane and Asuka gasped. Tsukiyo remained unfazed. Atsumu was struck by the stranger's beauty. Realizing his duty, Atsumu moved to serve the new guest. As he approached, his foot caught. He stumbled, beginning to fall. A strong hand caught him, steadying him effortlessly. It was the new customer. Atsumu stammered his thanks. The customer, Takarasuka, smiled, her eyes sparkling. "The rumors are true. You are quite cute." Atsumu could only look confused. Then Takarasuka, the renowned theater star, made her proposal. "Will you be my girlfriend?" The scene froze there, a perfect tableau of shock. Later, Atsumu sat stunned by the request. He managed to stammer a vital question first. "Who are you?" Takarasuka, who asked to be called Rin, apologized for her haste. Around them, Asuka and Tsukiyo radiated palpable jealousy. Rin introduced herself as a lead actor at the prestigious Sakura Theater Company, expressing a wish to get along with everyone. Atsumu still looked lost, wondering aloud how someone acted as a male actor and if Rin was truly famous. Rin pouted, chiding him for not knowing. Atsumu then recalled the news segment he'd seen earlier. Akane couldn't stay silent. She launched into an explanation. The Sakura Theater was a historic, all-female institution, and Rin was a superstar of unimaginable magnitude to theater fans. Asuka pointed at the cafe's television, where an advertisement featuring Rin suddenly played. Atsumu's eyes widened in realization. Rin praised Asuka's knowledge, and Asuka accepted the compliment. Tsukiyo quietly worried about how many more people would descend on the cafe, while Akane finally asked why Rin had come. Rin returned to her point. "I am asking Atsumu to be my boyfriend," she repeated. Panic flashed across Atsumu's face. How could an ordinary person date a star? Rin looked surprised by his reaction. She clarified, she needed a partner for role research. She always played male roles, but her next part was a female one. To understand the character's experience, she needed to observe what it was like to have a boyfriend. The article about the cafe and its cute server had given her the idea. Atsumu slowly understood. "So you need a reference to act like a girlfriend." Rin nodded, delighted he grasped it. Asuka was annoyed the request had been so misleadingly phrased. Atsumu asked, "Why me? There are plenty of other guys." Rin explained that despite always playing romantic leads, she had never personally experienced love from a female perspective. Being with a cute guy like Atsumu might help her understand that feeling for her role. The others now comprehended. Rin didn't want a real relationship. She wanted to go on practice dates to gather experience. Atsumu flushed with embarrassment at the idea. Rin acknowledged it was sudden, but pleaded for his help. As Atsumu considered it, the three girls seemed to vibrate with tension. When Atsumu finally agreed, Rin was overjoyed. Immediate protests erupted. Asuka reminded him of his fake fiancé duties. Akane said the cafe couldn't manage without him. Tsukiyo cited their after-school walks home. Atsumu listened, then spoke firmly. He couldn't ignore someone asking for help, especially a girl who had come to him out of desperation. Helping someone in need was simply what he did. The three fell silent, recognizing this unwavering part of his character. Rin was deeply impressed. Suddenly, Rin moved close to Atsumu. "Thank you. I am truly grateful," she said, her tone intimate. Asuka watched, a spark of pure jealousy in her eyes. The cafe closed early. Contacts were exchanged. That night, Asuka, Akane and Tsukio held a tense call, strategizing about Atsumu's upcoming date with Rin. Elsewhere, in an unknown place, events were beginning to stir, their nature still hidden.
Then Rin meets his manager again, and he says that he has never felt in love. That's why Rin doubts he will be able to accept the role later. That's why now for this date, he wants to find his real self, where no one has ever found his real self. So, as promised, Atsumu is now on a date with Rin on the day where he will be studying for his future role. Atsumu clearly has expectations of Rin, especially since he is so famous. Even on his days off, Rin looks amazing. But Atsumu was surprised by Rin's clothes. Rin clearly didn't understand. Atsumu said that they weren't just going on a date wearing big clothes, right? But why is Rin still wearing clothes with her boy role? Moreover, he looks too attractive. Rin had a hard time answering and said that she didn't really know what style of clothing would suit her other than this. Atsumu clearly understood. That's why Atsumu asked Rin to choose clothes that would suit her for her daily life. Rin is a bit scared, but Atsumu explains Rin and promises to change Rin. Then the role that Rin will play is the magic of the snow, the darker the moon. This is a romantic story between a boy and a girl who each have their own secrets, and the role played by Rin is the heroine. She hid her identity and ran away from the castle and became known as a princess, silver-haired. Then at the clothing store, Rin said that she agreed to wear the clothes that Atsumu chose, but she was doubtful whether it really suited her because she was really shy and hid it. Atsumu said just relax. Rin was still hesitant, but Atsumu calmed Rin down and told him to just change his clothes. So Rin agreed, and at that moment, Rin pondered, will these clothes suit her? And just then, my wife came out. Yes, then embarrassed, my wife asked Atsumu what he thought of her appearance. Atsumu clearly compliments Rin's cuteness and that she looks like a princess from the story. Rin was clearly very upset, and I don't believe he could do that. It's also unusual for him if the remote is long. Atsumu is clearly aware and says this is a new experience for Rin. For those of you who know how her hair can be so long, does she use a wig or extensions or what? Comment below if any of you know. Anyway, now they are walking again, and Rin also asks the girl before he was told that Atsumu was good at fashion and makeup. Atsumu remembered that they had exchanged numbers, and Rin said that Atsumu was really great. And of course, the three girls followed them, and Atsumu and the others went to the amusement park. So here they will enjoy their time. That's why Rin invited Atsumu to hold hands. Atsumu replies that that's a guy's job. Rin said it was his habit. He also said that Atsumu had helped him with his new look, so now he has to play his real role. And my wife is very beautiful here. Damn. And Atsumu was clearly stunned by my wife's beauty. Then they started to walk. Then Asuka has to be patient watching those who are holding hands, and Atsumu must not know about them. Akane and Tsukio quickly agreed with Asuka, and they also discussed the role that Rin would play in the theater. There will be a kissing scene between the main characters. Tsukio will definitely understand. Asuka continued by saying that Rin was a famous theater actress who could become her own character, and if this date was a form of character building, Rin would definitely do it at a very high level. That's why their goal already exists. They have to keep an eye on Atsumu and Rin and not allow Atsumu's first kiss to be stolen by Rin. And they both clearly understand that Asuka won't let anyone steal Atsumu's first kiss. And at that moment, there was a couple who wanted to kiss, and the wife saw that. So what will happen on their date, whether it meets expectations or not? The afternoon sun cast long, warm shadows across the bustling amusement park. For Rin, such places had always been more a stage than a playground. From a young age, she had been someone others looked up to, tall, cool, and composed, attracting the admiring glances of countless girls. That admiration was a constant in her life, something she had come to accept as her primary connection to others. Yet, somewhere within her lingered a quiet hope that someday she would simply be a girl, able to enjoy the unscripted moments of her own youth. Today held the possibility of that. Her date with Itsumu had begun smoothly, a pleasant rhythm of shared laughter and casual conversation that felt both new and comfortable. As they walked along a path lined with colorful flags, Rin felt a surge of courage. She suggested something that felt significant, a step to dissolve the formal distance between them. She proposed they start calling each other by their first names. Itsumu agreed, and with that simple mutual agreement, the air around them shifted, becoming closer, more intimate. Not long after, Etsumu's eyes drifted to the decorative headband she wore. A soft smile touched his lips. "It's cute," he said, his tone genuine. "It suits you perfectly." A faint blush warmed Rin's cheeks. She looked away for a moment, then back at him, a playful but firm reminder in her voice. "We promised to use first names now, so call me Rin." Etsumu hesitated, the new familiarity feeling foreign on his tongue. He took a brief breath. "Rin," he said, the single syllable sounding both tentative and sincere. A small, triumphant smile appeared on Rin's face. "Etsumu," she replied, her voice clear. The immediate, flustered reaction that crossed his features did not escape her notice, and she understood the feeling perfectly. As they continued their walk, Etsumu found himself reflecting on the nature of performance. Every actor had their own method. For Rin, he knew, it was a process of deep immersion. When she received a role, she sought to truly feel the essence of the character, using that emotional core as her guide to determine what was authentic for the performance. It was a stark contrast to her sister, Ayo, who relied solely on the analysis documents he prepared. The two sisters, despite their shared profession, were completely different. Suddenly, a voice cut through their thoughts, a whisper that seemed to come just beside them. "You shouldn't call each other that." Both Rin and Itsumu stopped walking. They turned, looking behind them, then to their sides. The crowd flowed around them, but no familiar face met their gaze. The source of the voice was nowhere to be seen. They shared a look of pure, mutual confusion. Etsumu frowned. The voice had sounded oddly familiar, but with no one in sight, they simply shrugged and continued on their way. Meanwhile, hidden behind a large souvenir kiosk, a different kind of panic was unfolding. Asuka, Tsukio, and Akane had regrouped. Asuka's hands were pressed to her cheeks, her eyes wide. "What do we do if they find us?" she hissed, her voice strained with worry. Tsukio rubbed the back of his neck, a guilty expression on his face. "I might have slipped up earlier," he admitted. "I informed them that Itsumu and Rin would be heading to the haunted house. So what's the plan now?" Asuka took a deep breath, forcing her panic down. A sly glint returned to her eyes. "Just relax," she said, a note of conspiracy in her voice. "I already have a plan." Back with the couple, Itsumu stood before the grimacing facade of the haunted house attraction, his expression one of boyish enthusiasm. Rin, however, had gone very still beside him. Her usual cool composure seemed to have solidified into something more brittle. "Are you afraid of things like this?" Etsumu asked, noticing her tension. Rin glanced away, a shy, almost embarrassed admission in her posture. "I don't really like horror," she said softly. Then, as if rallying her pride, she straightened up and looked at the entrance. "But there's no way I'd be scared of something like this alone." She met his eyes, a challenge and an invitation in her gaze. "Shall we go in together?" The interior of the attraction was a labyrinth of darkness, punctuated by eerie sounds and sudden chilling drafts. They had not ventured far when a ghastly figure, illuminated by a strobe of green light, lunged from a hidden alcove with a shriek. Rin froze completely, a small gasp escaping her. "I'm starting to get used to it," she claimed, her voice noticeably higher than usual. Etsumu smiled, though she couldn't see it clearly in the dim light. He didn't believe her for a second, but he found a strange happiness in seeing her like this. This nervous, reactive Rin was different from the poised actress or the cool upperclassman. It felt genuine, and that made him happy. "I'm not scared at all," Rin insisted, as if trying to convince herself. Then, another jump scare. A skeletal hand brushed against a curtain just beside her, and a recorded wail echoed. Rin stumbled backward, her balance lost. Etsumu moved instantly. He caught her before she could fall, his arms sliding securely under her legs and back. In one smooth motion, he lifted her up, holding her close in a princess carry. Rin was too shocked to protest immediately, her eyes wide as she looked up at him. "I know you're probably not comfortable with this," Etsumu said, his voice calm and steady amidst the artificial screams. "But bear with it for a bit, okay?" He carried her like that through the remainder of the twisted corridors, past looming shadows and sudden flashes of ghostly visages. Rin remained silent, her initial shock giving way to a profound, flustered stillness. Unbeknownst to them, their path took them directly past a trio of would-be haunters, Asuka, Tsukio, and Akane. now dressed in ragged ghost costumes, watched in stunned silence as Itsumu walked past carrying Rin as if she were royalty. Their collective intent to startle them evaporated. Instead of two frightened victims, they saw a scene straight out of a fairy tale. A collective feeling of annoyance and regret washed over them. Their mischief had somehow backfired into facilitating this moment. Finally, they emerged back into the daylight. Itsumu carefully set Rin back on her feet. The normal sounds of the park, children laughing, cheerful music, felt overwhelmingly bright and loud after the contained terror inside. If you're afraid of ghosts, you didn't have to force yourself, Itsumu said gently. He studied her face, still flushed from the experience. Was that fear part of your acting too? Rin struggled to find an answer. She looked down, her voice dropping to a vulnerable murmur. In the end, I showed you my ugly side, and that wasn't my true self. She glanced up at him, accusation mixed with embarrassment. Besides, you were laughing at me earlier. I wasn't, Itsumu denied immediately, his expression earnest. Really? Rin pressed, her gaze searching his. Really, he affirmed. He paused, choosing his words carefully. I thought it might have been an act. There's no way I would laugh at someone's hard work. He saw her lingering doubt and continued, his tone softening further. But in that moment, you looked very genuine. There's no way I wouldn't smile at that. I would never be harsh towards someone who was scared. Rin fell silent. The noises of the park seemed to fade into a background hum. She looked at Itsumu, really looked at him, and remembered all he'd done lately, his patience, his insights into her work, and now this straightforward, unpretentious kindness. A new, unfamiliar rhythm began to pound steadily within her. Gathering her resolve, Rin made a proposal. She pointed towards the towering silhouette of a slow-moving Ferris wheel, its gondolas glinting in the late afternoon sun. Let's ride that, she said. There's something I want to talk about while the others are resting. She emphasized the last part subtly. From a safe distance, Asuka, Tsukio, and Akane watched them join the line for the Ferris wheel, their mouths agape. Akane, ever observant, simply nodded. They're going on that attraction, she stated. Tsukio's eyes widened with realization. This was it, the final classic ride for couples at an amusement park. The quiet, secluded moment high above everything else. This was the most important moment of the date.